Now, as work moves along on the rebuilding of the Washington Bridge, the Department of Transportation has announced a new tool to track its process. RIDOT has launched a website so that you can keep up with the progress being made on the westbound side of the bridge. Among other things, WashingtonBridgeRebuild.com includes project updates, design documents, and live traffic conditions. Construction on the new bridge will begin later this year with a reopening scheduled for November of 2028. And the investigation continues this morning in Attleboro as a driver there continues to recover from a crash on I-95. According to Attleboro firefighters, just before 7:30 Monday morning, a driver in an SUV went off of 95 South, ending up on its side some 50 feet into the woods, trapping the driver inside. The driver was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Massachusetts State Police are now looking into what led to that crash. And work continues in Providence this morning after a water main break on Dorrance and Weybosset streets caused some issues for some businesses downtown. According to the fire department, buildings on those streets lost water service while Providence Water fixed the issue. For instance, a sign on the door of Bay Coast Bank says the location is closed and asks customers to visit other locations. Coming up on 5:35 this morning, questions are continuing to mount regarding the future of Venezuela and the role the U.S. plays to support shaping it. President Donald Trump insists the U.S. is not at war with the South American country, though it is threatening more U.S. military attacks if Venezuela's interim government doesn't cooperate. All of this as former President Nicolas Maduro, meanwhile, made his first court appearance in New York Monday. ABC's Christiane Cordero has the latest from Washington.
This morning, the high-stakes raid in Caracas is front and center on Capitol Hill. Lawmakers are divided after a 2-hour-long classified briefing by Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Monday. Several Democrats say they didn't get enough clarity on Venezuela's future.
Their plan for the U.S. running Venezuela is vague, based on wishful thinking, and unsatisfying. When the United States engages in this kind of regime change and so-called nation building, it always ends up hurting the United States.
While several Republicans are defending the operation and downplaying concerns that the U.S. is starting a war.
We don't expect troops on the ground. We don't expect direct involvement in any other way beyond just coercing the interim government to get that going.
Trump administration officials have not answered questions about whether U.S. troops will be deployed to Venezuela. President Trump is, however, adamant the U.S. is running the country as officials pressure Venezuela's interim leader, Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, to cooperate. Rodriguez was sworn in as Venezuela's interim president yesterday, following the Saturday morning military operation that captured Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores to face charges in the U.S. The two pleaded not guilty to narco-terrorism charges in a New York courtroom Monday.
His lawyer says the case is going to be complicated. For now, he's going nowhere. Maduro did not even ask for bail and returned to jail. We may not see him again until March, when he's next due here in court.
Trump is now eyeing military action beyond Venezuela, singling out and drawing criticism from Colombia, Cuba, and Mexico. The president is also repeating his vow to make Greenland part of the U.S., something Denmark says the U.S. has no right to. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Thank you, Christiane. You'll hear more about Denmark later on in our newscast. But this morning, we're marking 5 years since that deadly insurrection in Washington, D.C. that culminated in the storming of the Capitol. On January 6th, 2021, pro-Trump rioters stormed the Capitol, demanding the results of the 2020 election be overturned. They attacked officers and they destroyed parts of the building there. The Capitol was placed on lockdown at the time, and it took several hours for it to be secured. Lawmakers evacuated the House and Senate chambers, and Vice President Mike Pence was also moved to a safe location. More than 1,000 people were charged by the Justice Department in connection to the riot. However, they were later pardoned by Trump when he took office again in 2025. Now, to mark the half-decade since the January 6th riot, Indivisible Rhode Island will hold a candlelight vigil for, quote, a solemn vigil of remembrance and resolve. The group says they are holding the event as they recognize that the insurrection challenged the, quote, strength and stability surrounding American democracy. That vigil will be at 5:30 at the State House. It is 5:37 this morning. Officials at Brown University have unveiled a recovery initiative after that shooting that killed 2 students and injured 9 others. According to University President Christina Paxson, Brown Ever True is a list of resources, programs, and services focusing on mental health and security for the Brown community. Paxson says the initiative is a joint effort of academic, administrative, and student organizations. Students resume classes on Wednesday, January 21st. It is 5:38 this morning. The city of Warwick will be holding a public forum tonight. They will be providing updates on the construction of the new Pilgrim and Tollgate high schools. This forum comes before a $50 million bond that voters in the city will be voting on February 3rd. Should that vote not pass, according to the Warwick Beacon, the schools risk being built without athletic fields or facilities. Voters in Warwick initially approved a $350 million bond to build the schools back in 2022. Ground was broken on both schools back in June, and in addition to the presentation, members of the project team will hold a question and answer session with members of the public. That forum will be at 6 in the auditorium of Warwick Veterans Middle School. 5:38 this morning. The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating after a small plane crash off of Cape Cod killed 1 person. Just after 3 on Sunday afternoon, the plane crashed and burst into flames near the Provincetown Airport. The pilot died there at the scene. No one else was on board. FAA records show the plane was based in Taunton. FlightAware shows it was coming into land after a flight from Marshfield. The pilot's identity has not been released. Coming up on 5:40 this morning, a Boston man will spend time in bars behind following a mental health evaluation after a judge ordered him held with no bail for allegedly intentionally hitting and killing a man and his dog. According to a release, 42-year-old William Haney drove his Toyota SUV Saturday morning from Back Bay to the Commonwealth Avenue Mall and asked a passerby if they had seen a man in a red jacket and his dog. After getting directions, police say he drove up Commonwealth Avenue, sped up, and intentionally hit 79-year-old John Axelrod and his dog. Axelrod, a noted art collector and Museum of Fine Arts donor, died at a nearby hospital. His dog, by the name of Tail, also died. Surveillance footage from a Dunkin' on Beacon Street showed Haney removing and throwing away a dog leash. According to his brother, Haney suffers from schizophrenia and was struggling after switching his medicine. 5:40 this morning, a Dartmouth man is facing a slew of charges after police say he robbed 2 pharmacies Monday morning. According to Dartmouth police, surveillance footage from a CVS showed a man going behind the counter, stealing several items, including car keys. They also say he drove off in a stolen vehicle, which was found a short time later. Inside that vehicle, police found 33-year-old Nicholas Wime slumped over, along with a crack pipe and a bag of cocaine. Officers later found Wime had allegedly robbed a Walgreens a few hours earlier. He now faces unarmed robbery and assault and battery charges, among others.